Welcome back to another episode of the Royal Podcast. My name is Brett Austin. This is my co-host, my boy Darian Alexander. Mm-hmm. Here we have Shoto.
He's a guest on our episode today.
Yep.
This is Shoto's husky. Brett's husky.
So, today our episode is about the Ultimate You. It's called the Ultimate You series, and this is part 2 of it. Summing up of what happened last episode.
Yes, so if this is your first time, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Right now, we are going through a series, just pretty much going through what you really need to keep in mind. Make it easy for yourself to become better, to become the ultimate you. Not to like be a simple, better, mediocre version of yourself, slightly better. No, possibly the best version of you that you can manifest right now. And so last episode, we went over the first point, which was identity. Going through the different forms of identity and how to better change who you view yourself as to start working to become your better self. So go check out that series. It's going to be up in the corner over there, so you can click on it and watch it, or you can go listen to it on Spotify while you're taking a drive, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite listening platform is on. Look at the Roll Podcast. But today's episode, we're going to continue off of a point that we left off at in episode 1. We mentioned the thermostat example, the temperature that you are at in life. And briefly, to go back over that concept, if you never heard of it, is whenever you're like looking at your life, let's say that I'm a 75 degreer. I am 75 degrees. And let's say that the blizzards of life, like the cold winds, come in and make things cold where it's like 45 degrees. Well, how does the thermostat work? The thermostat works to keep the temperature at the set temperature no matter what it has to do. So if life becomes a 45 degree for me, then I will naturally come back to that 75. But if I do really good in life and I go up to like an 100 degree, I work my way back down to a 75 degree. And we're going to go into
in depth of that.
Yeah, right.
Just kind of better explain it.
And it's not just like a set concept. It's not like, oh, you're a 75 degree, you're stuck there. Today we're going to show you how to change that. So, got 2 points.
Yeah, so you always want to be in proximity of, let's say, the 200 degreer through associations and changing. So, like Darian was discussing, let's just say, for example, I'm in the gym and I don't go too often, so I'm like a low 30 degreer. Let's just go there, 30 degrees, and I'm not too serious about my gains. And Darren's like 250 degrees, sweating, putting in work, and if I'm not hanging around someone like that, you won't change from that little, what did I say, 50 degrees?
You said like 30.
30, yeah. 30 degrees, you won't change from that because you're constantly stuck there because you aren't reaching out to expand your network in a way. Like, people think of networks as in just like the social media type thing. So,
network should challenge you.
Yeah.
You trying to train with a 250 degree, man, this guy's going to challenge the mess out of you, and he's going to make you grow in the gym.
Yeah, it's with everything too, even in the job. Like, I hate using the word like. I'm going to stop myself here. Let's say you look at your boss and you see what he's doing and you want to be either at his level or above him at some point. Start mimicking what he's doing in a way. Like, so, if I'm over here working hard and someone else sees that, it's going to inspire them to be working hard as well. So they're going to ask, hey, how do I get on your level? What do I need to do to get to that level? You know, what can I do differently?
The power of associations. It's an underrated tactic for anything. But if you want to change your temperature, get around somebody that's hotter than you. And the more people you have like that, the faster and faster that starts to start going. So that's where you start layering everything. Just like the example of that quote by Jim Rohn, the average of 5.
Yeah.
You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So that's a little bit into that. So I mean, like,
if you want to be a better churchgoer, start enabling that in your circle, enabling that within your proximity. Like, allow it to force you to be better, you know?
Allow it. That's good.
You allow it.
Yeah.
You don't. You got to challenge yourself. Without challenge, you're not going to grow.
100%. That's great. I was just thinking about this. It just kind of came up on my mind. So why? How is it that, okay, I understand that if I hang around, like, let's say I train with this guy that's 250 degrees in the gym, I'm only like 30 or 40, I'm gonna start getting better. But why do I have to have multiple? I mean, it doesn't really make sense to train with 10 250 degrees. No, in that particular example, it doesn't. But you want them in your proximity. Let's say you got one that's, he's great at training, but he's great at nutrition as well. What that does is it starts to build up like walls almost. Like, these people that come in and they start layering, they start to build up like a blanket, like this thickness that resists the coldness that you're at, the coldness of the world, right? And it'll make it even harder for you to revert back, right? So you have more people holding you accountable. You have more people encouraging you and guiding you to make this transition to a higher temperature to be a better, hotter, more efficient, higher version of yourself. That's why the layering part is so great. Always go to networking events. They got these things all the time. Go to meetup.com. That's the place I'll go,
I've never heard of that.
It's just like a...
It's interesting.
Yes, it's not like a dating...
Yeah,
not like that. No. Hot Chocolate don't put himself out there like that. Meetup.com is just one of those free tools that's really underrated and underused, not talked about enough, where you can go out, let's just type in real estate, for example. I'll go to a real estate seminar, a real estate meetup, where it's just a group of investors on stage giving free out information, answering questions. You go there with a series of questions, you get to know people, and then eventually they like your vibe just enough to where they'll want to work with you, even though you're not very credible. Right, because you don't have much.
But you put yourself out there.
Right.
Surrounding yourself with those people. It's almost like when you, like, I used to train hard. I thought I trained hard. I mean, in the gym, and then we ended up training together, and then like you said, you threw in the nutrition aspect into it. It made me take it a little bit more seriously, and it added more layers to what I already thought was good. Now it's better, or even great, and now with that I can actually ponder that to somebody else with what I've been taught or what I've been experienced myself, because I've put myself in the situation.
You noticed that. You just told me earlier that now that you've been training and stuff, you've been changing, people want to work out with you now.
Well, because they notice. I mean,
you've gotten hotter, your temperature's risen.
Yeah.
Your temperature's changed. And that's another thing. When you start to change, your temperature starts to change. People notice. Yeah. Birds of a feather flock together. People that were at your same level, when they notice that you are starting to heat up, they're like, what in the world's happening?
They want to not jump onto that, but they want to experience it as well. And that's absolutely okay.
They want to understand it.
You have to be the person to say, yes, come aboard. And if the person that they're coming aboard, they're not, 100 degrees yet or 200 degrees yet, get them there.
That's my thing. I'm big on that. I love, a lot of guys, man, that are about my size, my strength, they'll like ask me like, why I mean, you usually train with people. I mean, are you training these guys or are they paying you? I'm like, no, I just work out with them, or they work out with me.
See, that's a good thing because I don't mean to cut you off. I'll let you finish, but whenever you start something like that, you build a sense of character for doing something for free.
Oh yeah, you start to appreciate the task. You start to appreciate the craft more. You're not like doing it for the money.
And then you can offer them something.
And not that I have anything to offer. I just really want to see this guy looking. You know, I want him to be awesome looking. You know, I don't want to be the only one. But I like it. You know, I try to pull those people up. I won't say from below me, but up to where I'm at. You know, and you know, they want to transform. If I see that they're worthwhile, I'll do it. You know, I don't want to say I'm like a 250 degreer, but I'm up there. You know, I've definitely worked for it. I won't diminish my. I won't discredit myself. Which actually, stay tuned for next week's episode because next week's episode is going to have a little tie into what I just mentioned, giving yourself credit. So, what's the second point? The second point, doing things better, faster, in a less amount of time, in a certain amount of time than you've ever done it before. So, let's continue on with this workout example.
Well, things get easier as long as they go. And it's not that they get easier, it's that
you get better. You get better.
Yeah.
You get stronger.
I was gonna say we're kind of like machines where you give them one task over and over and over, and you keep doing it the same way, the correct way, then it just becomes muscle memory or memory, and that's easy, I got that, but to somebody else it could be difficult.
Yeah, like, you know,
what do you
so like, man, I remember the day I was trying to bench press 185 pounds, and I was struggling to work with that. Now it's part of my warm up, you know. But Brett, that's some of his working set, you know. He when he's bench pressing, he uses 185 pounds to train. For the most part, he can go a little bit heavier, but the smarter, more efficient way to stimulate the muscle with a weight like that and getting good quality reps. And you know, now, like when Brett and I first started training, he wasn't doing 185 for very, very consistent sets. You know, he'd start struggling by the third or fourth set. Now he gets it done. You know, it's maybe a little bit hard, but he gets it done. And that's what this is hinting at, that you're doing something in a less amount of time. That forces you to grow, that forces you to change, and you can hardly go back from that, especially if you're continuously doing it. You know, like in the beginning, this man hated legs. Now he goes in the kitchen, he's like, hey man, you know, I think we gotta go back and train legs. We gotta train some more legs. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, we gotta go train back some more legs. Because you're doing things in a faster way, you're doing things in a more efficient way, a better way, a stronger way. When you do things like that, you naturally just increase your temperature because you've never done it like that before, right? So if you run a mile in 7 minutes, and then, or just like, that's just like your level, but then you go on to like be able to run a mile in 6 minutes, I mean, that's a huge jump, by the way, you know?
It's good. That's great.
Yeah, really great jump. So I don't run, so applause to you if you can do that. You start to level yourself, you start to heat up more. You get into a different class of athlete because that right there is a whole different skill set, like a whole nother level of skill. The 4-minute mile, which used to be like an impossible thing. Now people are doing it all over the place. It's because you become this class of athlete that can do it. So you're starting to level your temperature up. But you have to push yourself to do things faster, more efficiently. We have another episode which we released before this past episode on identity, on time management. So to get things, to figure out ways to do things in a more efficient manner, a better manner, go check that episode out in the corner. But as far as altering your temperature goes, these 2 points, may seem really simple, but the concept here is execution. You gotta act on them. So, because otherwise you're gonna stay the same, and your life will revert back to. I mean, life goes up and down, but it will always stay level to that temperature that you're at. So, if you want a higher quality of life, implement the things that we talked about in episode 1, or or part 1 of the series, and what we just talked about today.
You gotta have the drive for it too, really.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. If you're not a driven person with ambition or goals and a certain image in your mind, then you won't be able to do the things that most people can, such as save money, you know. Like I was gonna touch up on a little thing about saving money with doing it better, faster, smarter, you know. I used to struggle with saving money. Everybody does at some point in their life, but I forced myself a little amount of money to put away, whether that be $200 or $500. Put that away and force it to stay in there. If that means not eating, then you don't eat. I was talking to one of my buddies about this, and I don't know if they took it to heart or listened to it. If they did, cool. If not,
That's your problem. I know.
But with that being said, you gotta sacrifice the small stuff in order to get to the great stuff.
That's great, bro. That's a highlight right there. That's good. Well, with that being said, it was a really short episode, but we want these things to be short nuggets so that you can just listen to it, start taking action. Our things not to keep you here forever. Our things to educate you, to teach you.
Yeah, hit the point.
Right.
Boom.
And get you going, because we want people to get better. We want people to be, just have a different lifestyle. We want lives changed through this. So if you know somebody who can use this information, last week's information, or any of the stuff that we put out there, this is episode 8 right here. Share it with somebody. We want this to grow. We want people. Shoulder, why are you sitting on my foot?
Buddy.
We want people to change. There's not enough of this going out, So getting better. That's what we're all about. We've got to grow.
One last point. When you talked about change, when you change yourself, or you go through changes, people, like you said, people notice that you are able to pick somebody up or help them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're not better, if you can't take care of yourself, how do you expect to take care of somebody else?
Yeah.
So please share it, like, subscribe, because we're going to be putting out this content every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys, for the few of you that are watching.
Thank you.
But like I said, please share, subscribe, like. We'll see y'all
On
next
the next
week.
episode.
That's right. Take care. Bye-bye.